Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Felipe here with I Am Prosperity, here with another episode. Today, I am going to give you one of my key takeaways from Patrick Bet-David's book, Choose Your Enemies Wisely, Business Planning for the Audacious Few. If you haven't read it, if you're a business owner, entrepreneur in 2024 who's looking to have the unfair advantage, I invite you, go ahead, check this book out, go watch this entire video. I'm definitely going to go ahead and give you my key takeaway from it. But if you haven't already, go ahead and grab the book. And so before I go ahead and get started, I really want to give you a key point before I give you my key takeaway, which is, in order to have the unfair advantage in business, right? Kind of from what Patrick Bet-David is talking about in his book, is that he calls it creating the 12 blocks of your business plan, right? And I want to just go ahead and read some of these so that you have a better understanding of them for you, before I go ahead and give the key takeaway. But it's essentially enemy and competition, will and skill, mission and plan, dreams and systems, culture and team, vision and capital. And when you have those building blocks, you become the audacious few. Now, before I do share my key takeaway, one of the things that he's a big proponent on within this book is that he talks about emotion and logic. And right, without getting too deep into it, essentially it's that having a business plan, right? Regardless of what industry you're in, sector, your business is meant to serve your audience, your customer, your clients, and you do that, in however fashion you do that, right? However you provide that service or product. Now, the thing is, you have to have a game plan, a strategy to move forward, right? But most times that plan or strategy doesn't actually create the emotion that it needs to create in your business, in yourself, in your team, sales teams, in your company, right? That is required to be successful, right? It essentially just becomes something written on a piece of paper, right? And so his key thing is that your business plan shouldn't just be about, we're looking for 2024, increase revenues by 10% quarter over quarter. We're looking to increase our lead generation by this, things like that. However, rather than doing that, you want to actually elicit the emotion, right? And he does that by also talking about enemies. And I think that's a key thing within this book, right? Choosing your enemies wisely, right? And I guess this is a great point to transition into my key takeaway, right? But before I do that, I do want to mention this key point that I wrote. Okay, and before I go ahead and give you my key takeaway, it's essentially this, something that I want to share with you is that what is the difference between competition and enemies? And I actually am a victim to this in that, like, before starting reading this book, I really had no idea of what was the difference. Would have I would have figured they were the same thing, right? But Patrick mentions that the difference between competition and enemies is that the difference between competition and enemy is that you can list your competitors without any emotion, right? But who pisses you off? Who's the person who said you never make it, right? Those are your enemies. And like just reading that in itself kind of hits me, it kind of hits a chord because I growing up, we all have our own experiences. We've been through something, and if you say you've never been through anything, you're lying, right? But I think growing up, I had my own experiences, and if I can just think about the people, the experiences, things like that, that kind of hit me hard, right? It really does create an emotion in me that wants me to do something. It wants me to act. It wants me to move forward. Whereas my competition might be, new software coming out, AI, right? Which is nothing that can elicit an emotion out of me, right? And then the next thing is this. One thing that I think might help you as well, thinking about enemies, is that he also talks about the 14 types of enemies, right? And there's essentially two categories, right? The outside of yourself, external enemies, and then internal enemies, right? Um, of the 14 types of enemies, the ones that I think are important, and again, this is for my own kind of what I got from it is that is within your own self, right? And of those, type of enemies within yourself. You have scarcity mindset, your own limited thinking, your ego, right? Contentment and mediocrity, and then the fear of success, right? I think those hit really hard because, in order for you, one thing that I've learned in business, in order for you to go to the next level, in order for you to take your business from 6 figures to 7 figures, from 7 to 8, in order for you to scale your impact, your influence, and your income, right? There's going to be a moment where you have to accept someone else outside of you, right, to coach you, to mentor you, to give you insights that you are unaware of, right? Because one thing that we've established here is that we all have blind spots, right? I have blind spots, you have blind spots, and that's why we partner with other business coaches, entrepreneurs, masterminds to be able to have them help us see what we don't see. And so that's why I think those are the most impactful for me, right? Right. And so with that, let me know what you think. I know this was a quick, short little video, but I am planning to do a more in-depth summary of the entire book. The right enemy triggers the right actions, right? The right enemy triggers the right actions. And so if you're a business owner, entrepreneur in 2024, but you still have not chosen your enemies, what are you waiting for? Right. And again, if you haven't already, I invite you go ahead and check Patrick Bet-David's book, Choose Your Enemies Wisely. I'll go ahead and link it here for you just to make it easier. But with that, let me know what you think so far, okay? And I'll see you in the next one.